Good morning, class. Today we are looking at methods for collecting data. Specifically, today we're going to look at observational studies. So observational studies are just as it sounds. You're simply observing without imposing any conditions on your subjects. So that would be like asking participants questions and then observing differences between groups. So a survey is a method of collecting data through an observational study. So for instance, if I were to collect data on where people lived, and then I wanted to see if there was a difference between perhaps the state of California and the state of Michigan in terms of allergy suffering, I would be doing that through an observational study because I'm not assigning people to different locations where they live. I'm just asking where they live and then observing if there's differences between allergy symptoms in the different states. So the problem with an observational study, because you're simply observing and you're not forcing any different, you're not imposing any conditions on your subjects, is that you can suffer from what's called a confounding variable. So differences between groups that aren't actually the relationship that you're interested in. So here, if we're interested in state and whether or not it affects your allergies symptoms, that's the relationship that we're interested. But because people are choosing the states that they live in, there can be differences between states or the type of people that live in those states besides just their location. So for example, I could have differences in diet or maybe age or the amount of exercise or how much sunlight they're getting. Those variables, diet, exercise, age, those are what are called confounding variables. So they go along with the location that you live and they could affect your allergy symptoms, but they're not actually the relationship that you're studying or the relationship of interest. So in observational studies, because you don't assign people to different states, you quite often will have issues with confounding variables because differences happen between those states that aren't just the state itself. So there's differences between the groups besides just the state or location that you live in.